So this is a body of work. I'm really bad at pronouncing French, but it's called Trompe-l'œil, and it's all about tricking the eye. So there's 6 images in total. You're going to see 5, and these are all photographs that I took in older Toronto homes. And what I did was I actually took really boring photographs of just sort of stuck fixtures in houses, so like toilets and cupboards, so things that you can change, but they require a lot of renovation. So what I ended up doing, so I took these like straightforward, really boring pictures, and I thought that I would, play it up a lot more and speak to the idea about the home. So what you actually see in the middle, they are origami houses. So you actually see the roofs of these houses that I physically have made out of photographs. So to make each photograph, it actually takes 4 photographs to make it in the end. So it's like kind of talking about photography, how it's like really multi-layered, and you're starting with a 3-dimensional object, but it becomes a 2-dimensional object. This is the only one where you actually see the bottom. So you actually see the folds and like sort of the tip of the roof. And yeah, they're really pretty. And sort of this is what kickstarted me into making like serious artwork and thinking about it a lot more, reading like really intense papers and really not understanding half of them, and having to read them like 5 times to try to figure out what they mean, and like basically the whole thing ends up being highlighted in the end. So yeah, this is sort of what started me with the idea of illusions and fantasy and sort of like the biased truth that photography does. So this is a new ish body of work that I made for my thesis my last year at OCAD, and it's another French title, and it's called Mise en abîme, which means placing into infinity, or basically it's when you see a mirror. It's like when you're in an elevator and there's like a mirror on one side, there's a mirror on the other side, and it's like an infinite amount of space that you can't really see the end, but you can. So every single photograph you'll see here, they're all of mirrors that are not photoshopped. So, I mean, I have to Photoshop a little bit, but like the camera, like I didn't Photoshop the camera out of this. Like this is like the one that first started the whole series. So people are like, well, how did you do it? And it's just basically like the whole idea about smoke and mirrors. So it's literally like all angles. So I'm just tricking the eye. I became really obsessed with this one particular pyramid, and I actually made it. So there's no, that's just a dude, and he's holding it in front of his face, and that's it. So I also like the idea that these mirrors reflected the spaces that they were in, and they're really obscure. And these are my arms. It's a really fun photographer's trick that velveteen absorbs all light, so it becomes like a super matte black. So it's actually like a void that my arms are in, which is kind of awesome. And I thought it was really funny because when they're a diptych like this, it actually looks like I'm in the middle, like doing this weird little dance. So I really liked sort of the humor in this one. IKEA is really good for my mirrors because that's where I bought most of them, except that wooden one and the one that I made. And I returned pretty much most of them, so that was really good. So this is one that I bought. This is my living room floor of a house I used to live in, and I was like, oh, this is pretty sweet, and then I sort of just tilted it, and that's how I got this image. It's pretty nice. This is another mirror from IKEA, and it's on a granite countertop. It's called Granite, and it's reflecting the roof, or the ceiling, so it's just plain white. So a lot of the mirrors, they literally are just reflecting the spaces that are around them. And again, it's like I'm controlling the camera with my eye, and you're seeing certain things that I want you to see. Here's the pyramid again, and I thought it was kind of interesting speaking to the laminate floor one. And this one, so this is plywood, but plywood is like, a man-made wood, and it's just like multi-layered, and laminate is also a photograph of wood, so it's like all these dimensions again that I really, really, really had to think about, and it was like, well, I'm going to be like tongue-in-cheeky, and again, the pyramid with the velveteen, but this time at like a different angle, so it actually the shape completely changes, and it becomes like the super like infinite abyss of just the edges, and that's the last one for this one, and I'm gonna just catch your breath. Okay. So this is the latest body of work that I made last summer in Syracuse. So I actually did a residency I just did a residency in Syracuse. I was invited to go, and I lived in Syracuse for a month and a half. And so it became my summer home. It was really lovely. And this is a bush that was across from my studio that I looked at every day, and I was like, what a lovely bush. I basically use Syracuse as like my home space to be like, okay, like I'm an alien, you know, I'm literally like not in my own country anymore. I'm gonna just use the land and like figure out what can I make out of it. So basically this work is called Of Other Spaces, and it's based off of, I can't even remember, some paper I read. And it's really important, but I can't remember right now. So this is in my studio that I got for my residency. That's really bad. The mirror I actually found in the basement of the sort of building that I lived in. This is sort of like work that's sort of transitional from my thesis work into this. So I'm still playing with the idea of mirrors, surrounding spaces, and then sort of just using like what I have around me. So it's like all natural light. And again, there's no Photoshop. When I was building the cube, I thought I only needed 4 pieces, but cubes are 6-sided, and that's why you only see 3 because it's only a 3-sided cube. This is a ladder. It's kind of speaking to the idea of, it's like this is my studio. I'm finding objects using natural light again. It's the form, the triangle. Like obviously, I'm super obsessed with it, and it's just really pretty. Yeah. And there's the cube again, but again, you don't know that's a 3-sided cube because it's in the corner and it looks like so convincing that it's a full cube, and it's really nice, and it's just tucked away in there. The space I was in had no bathroom. The sink, we had to put a bucket underneath. Like that was across from the like it's like I make it look really nice. And I'm gonna leave you with a self-portrait of my passport because I had to go across the border a lot when I was in Syracuse, and they didn't believe it was me. And there was also this man who got detained, and that's why I thought it'd be kind of funny to show that that they didn't actually think it was me, because I kind of look like this weird gremlin. And I thought it'd be nice to show you. Thank you.